Mr. Speaker, for those persons who did not believe that with all the odds that we had to stand up against, that our children would shine, I say to them, think again. And I know that in years to come, oh, I am useful enough to save him from the jail room there. He would not have been in this honorable house had it not been for this woman called Girlyn Miguel. But I would like to say that ungratefulness is worse than the sin of witchcraft. I saved him from Monday. He cried to me. I looked at him as my brother, and I had compassion, Mr. Speaker. But yet he wants to say things about me. The country knows. And I'm really glad when he speaks like this.
Honorable member, tell me. Yes.
Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Prime Minister, and we are in this House of Assembly, is referring politically to St. Clair. I'm the only St. Clair in this House, Mr. Speaker. And I think at the minimum you should seek a clarification before I make further comments, because what is taking place today can lead to significant response. So I'm appealing to you as Speaker in this House for the clarification.
Stop referring to him. Okay. He was referring to you.
He was referring to me.
That's what.
In the crosstalk.
Yeah.
And therefore, Mr. Speaker, I should refer that the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister is suggesting in this House that I was involved in criminal activities.
No, she doesn't say that. She's only saying you were referred to as being helpless.
Mr. Speaker, I'm appealing to you, Mr. Speaker.
He's denying that he called Girlyn helpless.
Honorable member, you made mention that he was implied that he was guilty of criminal activities.
Mr. Speaker, I never said that. All I know there was is somebody who came to me and begged me pardon because he was caught and should have been dealt with. But in the course of justice, none of us would see salvation. And so I did what I could. And you know, Mr. Speaker, sometimes we come to this honorable house and we play that we are the best of everything.
Okay, just a minute. So is there any factual, is there any facts in the situation that she has described? Is there any indication of facts? Yes.
You are the manager of this House.
Yes, I know.
The Honorable Prime Minister has indicated that he was alluding to me in crosstalk.
Yes.
As St. Clair, which in itself is out of order.
Well, of course it is.
That itself is out of order.
I will agree with
His
you.
further inference is that the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister was continuing his discourse to refer to me. While she has denied that, she further insinuates that there's a continuity and a connection between her statement and her remarks, which imputes me to have been in criminal activity.
I am asking a question.
And I'm asking for you, Mr. Speaker, to rule and to guide this discussion so that I can respond appropriately and correctly.
That's just a minute. That's exactly what I want to do. In our inference, is there any factual basis for our inference? That's what I'm trying to do. Because if I have to rule, I must have the source of what is taking place.
Mr. Speaker, I have never in my life been involved in any criminal activity and have to seek refuge of anyone in this House. And I take very, very short exception to it. And I do not mean anyone should be the coward I say be acting under the privilege of this House to cast the nation as that portion. Because if we became that, Mr. Speaker, we're going down a road for which many would not be able to retreat. And I'm asking for your guidance and your direction to this. So this is an extremely serious provocation.
So you are saying that there has never been an occasion when you've gone to a crying and asking for pardon for anything?
I have never had such a relationship.
Honorable member,
with any honorable member.
when you're trying impart motive to the honorable member, since she has denied this issue.
Mr. Speaker, I listened to the Honorable Prime Minister, and I would have seen some documentation whereby the Honorable member said that I was helpless. And Mr. Speaker, that was something I had buried. But Mr. Speaker, in my position that I was in at that time, the gentleman who spoke trespassed, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I still want to be a little bit modest here. Because, Mr. Speaker, I did not intend to say this. For the many years that I have been in this honorable house, I have behaved well. But, Mr. Speaker, for him to say something that I am helpless, every day of my life, have been working to build up this country. Mr. Speaker, he came to me with tears in his eyes. He came, Mr. Speaker, with a gentleman. He was just getting a job at Leacock, and he gave me all the details which I had not known. Mr. Speaker, I turned somersaults in my bed because I said, I've got 4 children, and I do not know when they will step out of the line of duty. And because of my church upbringing, I know that I must hold my brother's hand. And Mr. Speaker, I prayed and I asked the Heavenly Father to show me what I ought to do. And Mr. Speaker, I have swept it under the carpet. I did that, Mr. Speaker. But for him, with loose mouth, to have something, I have the document. The document can be gotten, Mr. Speaker. How helpless am I? But I know it is only when I am weak that God's strength could be perfect in me.
Okay, I remember.
Mr. Speaker, please, with your permission, I would like to say that the forgiveness still stands. And I would ask you, please, sir, not to let it go forward, but I want to let the honorable member know that in the course of justice, no man on earth could say salvation. We must walk humbly. And had it not been for my compassion, could not sit. Mr. Speaker, he could not sit in this honorable house. And this is what burns me. Could not come here. I thought of his family. I thought of the shame and disgrace it would have brought. And Mr. Speaker, the records are still somewhere. So, Mr. Speaker, please, I ask you that we would finish with it. But, Mr. Speaker, I really had to express some thoughts here this morning, because I feel that all of us in this honorable house should learn to behave ourselves and know what we say against one another. I'm obliged, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, this has actually, and of course, put me in a very strange predicament, as you would understand.